I'm joined by Anil Devli, CEO of Indian National Ship Owners Association. Mr. Devli, very good morning to you, and thank you for giving us time and speaking to us. Can you explain to us the situation as is? There has been overnight assurance of sorts from the US president saying that we will ensure that if required, the US military establishment will help ships go through. But as of this moment, is it safe to say that all traffic is stalled in the Strait of Hormuz?
Yes, good morning. It is absolutely correct to say that all traffic is stalled. There are certain ships which are on the northern side of the strait and vessels which are on the southern side towards Oman. The line that we are now drawing is 59 degrees east. Anything on north of that is in the high risk area. The vessels, as far as Indian ships are concerned, there are now 37 ships in the region. Out of these, I would say close to about 25 or 26 seem to be in laden condition. They have loaded crude oil because we go into load crude oil. There are vessels which have LPG, and all of these vessels are currently floating around.
Yeah. Just one second, Mr. Devli. Let me just explain to viewers what they're seeing right now. You are currently seeing a live satellite real-time map of what is happening in that strait. And those little green and red dots are the vessels that are stuck around. Clearly, no movement on the passage at all. You mentioned, sir, that there are 37 Indian carriers or Indian ships.
Indian flagships, that
Indian
is ships owned by Indian companies.
Okay. And so if they're stuck, how do they get here? What does that mean? How many people are on board? How will they pass through? Can they be accorded safe passage? Are they safe?
So many questions, all that we are grappling with. So to try and answer serially, we all get in through the straits and go in all the way up until Kuwait. If you look at the map, you go all the way up until Kuwait to load. So there are various ports there that we load. Just to give you, we go into Kuwait, we go into Saudi Arabia, we go into Iraq on this side, Basra, load in United Emirates, and even sometimes down into Fujairah. So the vessels go in for the purpose of loading crude oil and LPG. And when you come back, you have to come back. The strait is a two-way strait, and there isn't too much of depth available on the eastern side. So therefore, you have to, when going in and coming out, you have to be closer to Iran as you go in and you come back. Now that we are in, we have to come out, and right now there are too many imponderables, and therefore we have been told by the government, and it's safe navigation practice also, to float where you are and wait for things to happen. Coming back to how would we come out, at the meeting that was chaired yesterday, we have requested the minister that we will need the Indian Navy to help escort us out. This is similar to the situation we've faced in the days of the Red Sea crisis and with the Somalia pirates. So we would be most comfortable if our own Navy deployed their vessels, and then, in a caravan, usually these vessels sail out. As to answer when this will happen, my guess is as good as yours. But I think we will be guided largely by what the Indian Navy says to us. We are all concerned about the safety of our assets and our people. And to answer your question, it is estimated that there are close to about 119 to 120 seafarers who are on board Indian flagships in that area. And all of us are concerned. We are monitoring the situation almost half an hour. We have situation rooms opened up in our offices, and we are in touch with the more important part is being in touch with the families of the seafarers, because mercifully we are sitting on this side here in the office, but the important part is to ensure that our seafarers are safe and the anxiety of their families is taken care of.
Mr. Devli, There was a post by US President Donald Trump that he's asking the US insurance agency, or whatever you may call it, to give insurance. And we had heard that insurance was one of the detractors in addition to all that is happening. Now, and of course, he's also mentioned in that post that he'll ask the US Army or Navy to also help in the passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, again, as you said, we don't know when it will happen. We don't know when the Indian Navy also steps in. But if this were to happen in the next 2 or 3 days, could that help meaningfully restart passage of crude oil tankers or crude oil carriers?
Well, if the latter happens, then it will meaningfully change.
By
But
latter, you mean, sir?
meaning the passage of the vessels under army supervision or naval supervision of the powers that be. But if you look at the first part of your question, that if the insurance is put in, the insurance, incidentally, I must clarify here for your information, is the insurance has not been taken away. What happens is that the insurance companies, because a war-like situation develops, they come back and say, now within this area, whatever standard insurance you have is now not valid, and you need an additional war risk premium. So starting today, the war risk premium would apply to ships which are going to be in that region, and the cost is dramatically going to increase. So yes, to answer your question, will that help? In part it will help, but there is currently only one American what we call a protection and indemnity company that provides these services. Now I don't know whether President Trump is going to be able to prevail on the other. There are 12 large international group of P&I clubs who provide this kind of cover, and these are all Europeans based in Europe, Brussels, and London. So I don't know whether he'll be able to influence them. But
Mr. Devli, just trying to understand, and thanks so much for that clarification. What we're trying to also understand is if this maritime trade is set to continue, first and foremost, this insurance premium going up. Can you help us quantify that and tell us how much of a cost increase it is?
Yeah. So illustratively, let us say if a vessel, I'm giving you top of the head figures because we still have to get details from our insurers. But what we understand informally is that vessels which are today paying a cover of about 40 lakhs of rupees a month would get pushed up to about 1 crore. So it would go up by at least 2 times, if not more.
Okay, and this is so therefore this is only in that Gulf of Hormuz region, right?
Yeah. So if you enter that region, as I said, 59 east, and I don't know what are the coordinates on the other side, but it would be all the way until Kuwait. So if you are entering that region, those premiums would apply.
So therefore, let me ask a follow-up question then. And you've already described very ably the various. So we're talking about the Suez Canal on one end. We're talking about the Gulf of Hormuz north of that. Right?
Yes, Suez Canal is on this side, sir.
Yeah, it's on the. So therefore, what I'm trying to get is what is the alternative route, and is this going to be something that is feasible to take up in the very near term? One would assume you would have to go around the Cape.
Yeah, so if you are using the Suez and therefore you are loading cargo on this side of Saudi Arabia or Yemen, or you're loading Egypt, etc., then you can pass via the Suez Canal. But if you have to load cargo in Kuwait or on this side of Saudi Arabia, where Ras Tanura and all these large terminals are, then you have, I'm afraid, you're one way in, same way out. It's like a canyon. You go in and then you have to take literally a U-turn and come back. So there is no alternative to that strait unless there is peace there, and there is enough military to ensure that vessels don't get shot at. What you talk about the Cape of Good Hope, that is done by us, because if you cannot transit the Suez Canal, thanks to problems with the Houthi as we had them in the Red Sea, then you're absolutely correct. You can go down all the way down the Cape of Good Hope and go into Africa and then sail out into Mediterranean or into Europe, wherever you have to.
Just trying to understand, Mr. Devli, as of now, the question of freight rates may become moot because nothing is moving. But having said that, are you expecting a huge spike in freight rates?
Yes, I mean, when we see market today and the offers that ship owners are getting, The prices have, freight rates have definitely zoomed up, but nobody is accepting a contract. Nobody is taking up anything because it's all in the air. Somebody will say, Anil, will you go there? I will say, unless it's safe, I will not go there. So regardless of the price that is given, today it doesn't matter. But yes, there are today offers, and we can see that even the freight rates have considerably gone up. There are some reports that VLCCs are commanding close to $500,000, and these are all astronomical figures. But again, I'm saying they are all on the top. We don't know of any contracts. Obviously, no ship owner is going to get into a contract on this at this stage.
Mr. Devli, just to get my understanding straight, to your mind, having adequate insurance is not going to be the kicker. As things stand, it needs naval protection from India, US, or whoever else for ships to pass. Insurance will not do it, right?
Yes. So I must clarify that insurance is necessary, but is not the single thing that we need. Yeah, it is necessary. Without an insurance, we obviously won't walk in.
Of course, yeah.
But for us to start moving, we need naval supervision. We need hand-holding from either the Indian Navy or the Israelis or the Americans or the Iranians, for that matter.
Wow.
Just a quick question, Mr. Devli. In this situation, one would assume that costs are being transferred completely. Is that the right assumption to the people that you are working with?
At this stage, our vessels' freight rates are fixed. At least all of these vessels, which I mentioned, these 37 ships. So those freight rates will not change. But any new contracts that start from tomorrow or day after, those will see higher freight charges being levied.
Just a quick question, and you've very ably described how the insurance is going to go up. In your estimation, back of the envelope, rough calculation as things stand right now, what is the overall cost increase that it will take for maritime trade?
It's very difficult to give you a figure, but going by general relativities, I think you can take it that freight rates will go up at least 3 times, if not less. For example, on the container side, CMA, CGM, etc., have already announced a surcharge of about $3,500 on a 20-foot box, for example. So that's really 4 times, going up to 4 times the freight rate.
The numbers are all becoming hypothetical right now, because first a ship must be willing to go to charge a freight rate. Thank you so much, Mr. Devli, for speaking with us in such detail. We invite you back in the next couple of days.